According to just released emails for the mainstream media, covering the tarmac meeting between Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch was like pulling teeth from an inebriated shark. One email shows one Washington Post reporter lamenting to Obama's Department of Justice that, quote, "My editors are still pretty interested in the story," and that he's hoping to put it to rest by answering a few more questions. A New York Times scribe emailed the DOJ Public Affairs Director saying he'd been pressed into service to write about it. The tone is of an apologetic teacher who doesn't like giving detention, but does because others do. The DOJ flack in an email said an ABC producer told her they aren't interested in the story, even if Fox, evil Fox, runs with it. It's like they're saying they're still on your side, unlike FNC, who still thinks the story means something. Now, this isn't mind-blowing at all. They did the story anyway. But it gives you a peek into the mindset of people who don't just write the stories, but shape the agenda, meaning they try to persuade viewers by diminishing some stories you think matter, like Benghazi and the IRS scandal, and playing up others, like Russia, or Russia, or Russia. They aren't just presenters of news, but curators, manipulating the significance of a story by controlling its exposure. Fact is, everyone played down the tarmac story in order to help Hillary. The good news didn't work. Dan, a clear example of media bias. Am I right?
Disagree.
Then I am out of here.
Yay!
That's the only way you win an argument is if I leave.
If you leave.
Impressive performance.
Okay, maybe with the ABC producer saying we're not interested in it, even if Fox does, and I could see that. Of course, we do this here. Every news station has an assignment editor. They decide what to cover.
We'll cover anything and everything, Dana. How dare you?
If you look at what a couple of these reporters did, reporters always do this, especially when I worked at the Department of Justice and they called you at 10 p.m. on a Saturday. Like, I'm so sorry. My editors are really pressuring me because it's a way for them to, like, prevent themselves from being yelled at.
And they knew you were home.
That's probably.
I couldn't resist.
They always apologize for bothering people, and so, and actually, they, as you said, they did the report, which led to the semi-recusal of Loretta Lynch that we all know about.
There you go. Jesse, this story was bigger than Watergate.
Yeah, but they didn't cover it. The media bias, it's not just about what they report, it's about what they don't report.
Yes.
And usually the media covers for, you know, Republican scandals, but they cover up Democratic scandals. I would like to disagree with Dana a little bit. If this happened in a vacuum, and this is a reporter sending an email, oh, you know, my boss is making me cover it, that's fine. But WikiLeaks shows they collude with Democrats all the time. These reporters were sending up stories for Democrat politicians to edit before they went to be published. So there's a lot of... No, but we know their whole industry did that, and they were exposed for it. Not only did they...
I'm talking about the C block.
Okay, well, I'm talking about in a broader perspective.
He was putting it in context.
I'm putting it in context so everybody can understand at home. Also, a lot of new questions are arising from some of these revelations. Why, when the reporters asked about these correspondence, the FBI said, oh, there were no emails about it. Turns out there were hundreds. And if it's just an innocent meeting, then why did it generate hundreds of pages of email correspondence? And if it's just a casual, unscheduled meeting, then why did the security details of Lynch and Bill Clinton coordinate the meeting? And then why did Loretta Lynch use an alias email address when she's talking about generating talking points to defend herself?
Why did they use
and then she told Congress that she never used an alias email address when she's doing official business.
Why did she only have one and Eric Holder had 4?
Exactly. And why did
they all did it?
The FBI agents told people that witnessed the meeting not to take any pictures or not to record. And then why did Bill Clinton wait on the tarmac for Lynch's plane to come in and then board the plane?
And then
he said they talked about golf.
And grandkids.
Does Loretta Lynch play golf? I want to know. Does she play golf? Bill Clinton, there's no record of him even playing golf in Phoenix that day. It was 108 degrees. So a lot doesn't add up about
the story.
A
chalkboard.
That was
I need a whiteboard.
I need a chalkboard. You could just like
it sounds like a fishing expedition to me.
Really? Well, I just caught a big one.
Big old
Richard, would reporters be so apologetic if they were talking about Russia? I don't think so. I think their enthusiasm would take over.
Well, if he just caught a big old nothing fish, but...
You can't ban phrase, nothing burger.
I said nothing fish.
Too close.
Anyway, moving on.
Close relative.
But if you read some of these emails in particular, one email from the Washington Post, who put it on their front page the next day, by the way, the journalist says, I'm being dragged to cover this because I usually cover the White House and the DOJ reporter's not in, so I'm being forced to cover this
Right.
because
I say that all
I
the
don't,
time.
I don't cover this assignment, so I'm filling in for somebody, like I'm filling in today, just saying. But the point I'm making, but all of these organizations covered this ad nauseum. I mean, it was wall-to-wall coverage about this tarmac meeting. And let's not forget that everybody covered Comey's both press conferences, the one where he cleared Hillary Clinton and the one where he said, oh, by the way, we're checking more emails that I think almost cost her the election, where she was the week before the election, he was like, oh, we found all these other emails.
Well, we have to cover that.
Exactly. And the media didn't cover it up. They covered it.
I got to get to Kimberly.
Right?
Kimberly, we know for a fact, let's admit, they didn't want to do this story because it wasn't something that fit into their narrative.
Absolutely. So actually, it's not so shocking because this is what we saw during the Obama administration. And remember when Ben Rose was laughing and like mocking the media and talking about how gullible they were and was calling them useful fools. I mean, wow, what a way to bum out your day when someone calls you that.
I'm used to it.
Yeah. Kind of, but you're charming at least. So this is no surprise to me. I mean, they would absolutely rather cover an ant crossing the street than anything that would be detrimental to the Obama administration.